And Renee, could you read the Metro Cable 14 replay statement, please?
Absolutely. This meeting of the Sacramento Metro Cable Television Commission is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast, Consolidated Communications, and the AT&T U-verse cable systems. This meeting is closed caption and is webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv and will replay on Saturday, September 5th at noon and Sunday, September 6th at 9 a.m. on Metro Cable 14.
Okay, thank you, Renee. Should we probably do another roll call in case somebody else called in?
Absolutely.
So if you could do another roll call, Renee.
Absolutely. Commissioners Detrick?
Here.
Hedges? Gatewood? Polo?
Here.
Reed? Riley?
Here.
Middleton?
Here.
Natoli?
Here.
Schmidt?
Here.
Nava?
Here.
Bryant? And Morin. Okay, thank you. You have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. I was going to welcome Commissioner Andy Morin back, representing Folsom, but he's not on the line. Andy was appointed to Folsom on August 25th, City Council meeting at Folsom, was informed that they were entitled to their own seat on the board when its population reached 80,000. So based on their June 1st, 2020 population figures reported to SACOG, they are a full member now, and Andy Morin is a recycled member back onto our board. So Renee, could we go over the next item? Oh, next item is Counsel with Legal Counsel, and it's been recommended rather than calling in and out that we move that to the end of the meeting. So I'd like to do that unless there's any objections from the other commissioners. Okay, hearing no objections, unless there's a protocol. Harriet, is there any issues about protocol on moving that?
No, it's just at the discretion of the board.
Okay. So I'll take that since there were no adverse comments, that we'll move that to the end of the meeting and go to item 2. Renee, could you read that, please?
Your item number 2 is resolution number 2020-007, adopting the fiscal year 2020-21 final general fund budget, and resolution number 2020-008, adopting the fiscal year 2020-21 final PEG fee fund budget.
Good afternoon, members of the board. This is Bob Davison, your executive director. And sorry, I had my mic off. Anyway, good morning. Good. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Anyway, I'm here. I will present agenda item 2, which is we are recommending that the board approve resolution number 2020-7, adopting the general fund budget, and 2028, adopting the PEG fee fund budget, including all the documents and attachments that are associated with the item. I have a brief presentation on the item, so I'll go right into that. The final budget as presented includes minor changes to the budget that was approved when it was proposed, plus one major change, and I think that's because your board certainly remembers that due to the COVID-19 pandemic, that we pushed back the call for funding, the annual grant process for the PEG fees that we allocate every year to the channel licensees, the member agencies, and other requesters. So with that, this final budget has a $3 million adjustment. We had budgeted an amount for the call for funding into our contingency, and now that we've have all of our requests, and fortunately our requests balance with the revenue available, we're proposing that $3 million be moved from contingency to the different line items to fund the various PEG fee fund requests. And with that, I'm going to go through each of the entities very quickly just to get a sense of what is being requested with the final budget today. So first of all, I'll talk about the member agencies in the 7 member agencies. First, with the County of Sacramento. The county is requesting $640,000. It's going to include Dias touchscreen upgrade, virtual meetings, expanded teleconferencing integration for the chambers, AV system, and AV equipment for lighting to record off-site board meetings. Those are just some of the highlights of their request. But I do want to point out that we're going to find a theme here in all of the requests, or most of the requests. A lot of them are COVID-19 related, a lot of upgrades to chambers to allow for teleconferencing and such. So anyway, with that, that's the County of Sacramento request. The City of Citrus Heights is requesting $146,000 for chamber projector lens, Dias monitors, and control room equipment. The City of Elk Grove is requesting about $100,000 for chambers, microphone, and ceiling speaker upgrades, chambers and digital signage monitors, and teleconference audio integration. Folsom is requesting $163,000 for a major control room and audio processing upgrades, a lobby overflow monitor, conference system, Zoom integration, and AV system programming, and video production equipment for the creation of public service announcements. Galt is requesting, and then there's a rollover request, a rollover amount of $70,000 for a previous year project that's also going to be completed this year for Folsom. Galt is requesting $50,000 for overflow room camera and microphones and control room upgrades. Rancho Cordova is requesting $157,000 for iPads, laptops, and mini PCs for the clerk staff, Zoom conference integration for multiple rooms in the city, and upgrading control room monitors, live streaming encoders, recorders, et cetera. The City of Sacramento, first of all, they had a large request last year, $497,000 for upgrading their chambers, but with the COVID-19 pandemic, that request is still being rolled over. It's available to them if they want to upgrade their chambers. It's likely that will be held over even further because at this point in time, during the pandemic, the City of Sacramento has indicated that they're not likely to upgrade the chambers at this time, but we want to preserve that funding. But they do want to upgrade their historic chambers, and so there's $149,000 for the historic hearing room, major audio video upgrades to replace end-of-life equipment, a chambers projector, streaming encoder, and control room window coverings to cut out the sun glare. So that's the member agencies. Metro 14. We're asking for $280,000, but one of the highlights is that we are going to upgrade, actually put in the control room for regional transit. So regional transit meetings will no longer have to be filmed. I'm not sure film exists anymore, but recorded with the Metro van. So with that, we have money to install a control room into regional transit, and regional transit meetings will be also be closed captioned in the future, which we were never able to do with the remote van in the past. Also, I want to point out, given that the production van for Metro Cable has been dismantled and phased out, and we bought kind of traded it actually, there's for a smaller van that will be able to take the needed equipment to different meetings, and we'll be creating a flight pack so that we can record from the van, but it's a lot smaller and easier to carry around, so we no longer have to use the larger van for remote meetings. There's also a control room server and master control projects, an upgrade to the fiber transmission method to send the IP signal to the Comcast head end, and also equipment to allow us to monitor AT&T Uverse signal. Their station, which we were never able to monitor except in the clerk's office, Karen Lou's office. But now we will be able to monitor all of the streams in the Metro Cable headquarters, located behind the board chambers. With that, that brings us to the channel licensees. Access Sacramento is requesting $568,000 for 15 projects related to production and playback for their 2 channels. Just some of the highlights are their radio station KUBU, which they do also play as background on their channel and also on their SAT.
Okay. I just got rid of 44%. Just as the.
Okay, so you sent me an email?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, somebody was asking a question?
You need to put your mic on
Oh, okay.
mute if you're not speaking.
Anyway, I was talking about Access Sacramento, the equipment related to KUBU, which is allowable to be funded by the PEG fees because that stream also goes over the channel. Also $133,000 for a large lens that for the HD truck, and this will allow them to film their record their game of the week and other community events with a lens that's going to allow a lot more clarity and high quality images than we're currently seeing on those cablecast. And then also $32,000 to remodel the old RV, which was put out of commission, but they're going to revitalize it as a support vehicle for their HD broadcasts. So kind of like a vehicle that can carry crew and a lot of their equipment beyond what's in the HD truck to their Game of the Week and Hometown TV and other broadcasts. So with that, KVIE is asking $886,000 for 2 items. One is an Avid media creation project. It's a system to create and edit programs for the local PBS channels. It's going to replace their current system, so it's a whole system replacement.
Yeah.
Can board members put their their mics on mute until they want to speak? Thank you. So KVIE is asking for that as well as a broadcast archive project. The Sacramento Education Cable Consortium is asking for $134,000, and the highlight of that request is, of course, this board is well aware of the great work that the SMCTC has done with the SIVA labs over the years, but now with the COVID pandemic, the SIVA labs aren't all that workable given the constraints. So there's a revised and reimagined SIVA grant program for this year, and it's a package for teachers to check out for students. There's different packages for different types of content that the students can create at home, and this request will serve 2,000 students in 68 classes in 38 schools in 9 districts. And so with that, that's SCCC's request. And also Capital Public Radio, which is an eligible PEG request now because we will be playing the Capital Public Radio stream audio as a background for the Metro 14 Bulletin Board. With that, we've often funded their requests in the general fund, but now their requests are eligible to be funded in the PEG fund. And their request is $17,000 for COVID-19 related items, which support 24/7, mostly remote operation, and a Comrex audio device, which allows for high quality audio over the internet. So when they're doing interviews with certain people over the internet, it's going to be of better quality on Capital Public Radio. So anyway, I know that was a lot to get through, but those are the main PEG items that are being requested this year. I have no other comments on the presentation, so I do recommend that your board adopt the 2 resolutions adopting the general fund and PEG fee fund budget for fiscal year 2020-2021. With that, I certainly can try to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Bob. Do any of the commissioners have questions for Bob at this time? Hearing no comments, we'll go into open public comment. Since the in-person attendance is not permitted, comments submitted to the public will be read into the record, and the members of the public will also be given the opportunity to phone to make verbal comments during the meeting. Renee, do we have any statements to be read into the record?
As of now, no, we do not.
Okay, and do we have anyone who's called in who would like to speak?
No, we do not.
Just to be sure, I know that we have four or five of the channel licensees on the phone, but they may only want to speak on item 10. So are we just certain that any of the channel licensees did not want to speak on item 2?
She's going to put him on.
We're going to check to see if any of the channel licensees need to speak on item 2.
Okay.
Hello, channel licensee.
This is Harriet. While we're doing that, could I just clarify that when you do get to a motion, in addition to the resolutions that are at the top, there are additional resolutions that are embedded into the exhibits, and when the person who makes the motion makes it, if we can include all the resolutions that are included in the attachments, that would be excellent. Thank you.
Thanks.
Got it, Harriet.
Thanks.
You can ask. Go ahead.
Do they want to speak?
Any licensees?
Chair Detrick, just for clarification, our channel licensees are on standby in case there are any questions related to their requests. So if there are none, then we could go ahead and move for a motion and a second, please.
Okay. So do we, you said that there were Metro Cable staff to show videos that had been submitted. Have there been videos?
I believe that was for item number 10 under channel licensee reports.
Are there any
Okay,
channel?
you have, it's listed under 2 as well. That's why I'm asking.
Oh, okay.
It's listed under 2 because they're allowed to submit video presentations under that item, but I believe we got a few submittals of video, but those were for item 10 and not for item 2.
Okay. So then we'll close public opportunity, and if there's any deliberation from any of the commissioners, and or we can ask for a motion to approve the resolution number 202000, adopt the fiscal year 2020 final general fund budget, and resolution number 202008, adopting the revised fiscal year 2020-2021 final PAG fee budget due and the change to the county's 2021 PAG fee funding request to include all the documents and attachments that are in the resolution. So are there any comments from the board members or a motion?
Chair Detrick, just to clarify your motion, can you say adopting all attachments, resolutions included in the recommendation? Attachments, resolutions, and documents included in the recommendation?
I believe I said that, but I'll revise the motion if that's needed to include all of those items.
Perfect, thank you.
I'll move the item as clarified by the chair and the director.
I second the motion.
Can you
This
please
is
again it?
Andy Moran moved.
Motion by Andy and seconded by Natoli.
Yes.
Okay.
My-
Renee, can you do a roll call?
My apologies for interjecting, but Council or Board Member Moran, can you when we took roll, you were not present. Can you let us know when you joined our meeting just now?
I joined the meeting just right at the beginning of Bob's presentation.
Okay. Okay. So noted that you are present then at this meeting. Thank you.
Right. So I am here.
Okay.
Glad you're back, Mr. Moore.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, Andy, you missed it. I welcomed you back, but you weren't here to hear it.
I know. That was the most important thing.
It was. Renee, can you do a roll call vote, please?
Absolutely. Commissioners Detrick,
Yes.
Hedges, Gatewood, Polo,
Yes.
Reed, Riley,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes.
Natoli,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Nava,
Yes.
Morin,
Yes.
Bryant. Thank you. Your motion passes.
Excellent. So let's go to the next item. If you can read the item, Renee.
Yes. Your next item is your BESTNet Memorandum of Understanding, approval of extension after December 2023.
Good afternoon again. This is Bob Davison again, and I'll have a short presentation on this item. As your board is well aware, BESTNet, or the Broadband Education Services Technology Network, is an institutional network that provides broadband to schools in the Sacramento area. And over the past decade plus, Comcast, SMCTC, and schools and the Cable Commission have supported BESTNet with significant funds, which has created this robust network that has been just a great asset for the schools in Sacramento. Now, BESTNet is a dark fiber system installed by Comcast, and the fiber that's installed for BESTNet is used only for BESTNet, so it's not shared fiber. The BESTNet build is complete now, and new schools that have been recently added and that will get added in the future will be added to broadband through the E-rate process. So the BESTNet won't be expanding beyond its current schools, but certainly future schools will be added through E-rate. To ensure that BESTNet does not go away, as we've talked in recent meetings, the original franchise was to expire in 2023, and with that, the terms of the franchise would have also expired, and one of those was to provide for the iNet, which is one of the reasons why the BESTNet system exists. So with that, there's concern, and I know that there's been discussion with the board in the past that there might have been some legal issues to be sorted out between the Commission, SMCTC, and Comcast to ensure that BESTNet is not an asset that goes away in 2023, but is an asset that continues into the future. So with that, SMCTC and the Commission reached out to Comcast to find a mutually agreeable solution for the support of BESTNet after 2023. And with that is a draft of an MOU that's attached to the agenda item today. Now, what the draft MOU does include is it provides for the use of BESTNet beyond 2023 until 2038, with a 10-year extension term and then a 5-year renewal after that. And through this term, after 2023, schools will only need to pay for maintenance costs. The terms of the MOU are agreed to, and they're set forth in the attachment. SMCTC will pay a backbone maintenance charge, and they plan to prepay the maintenance charge for the first 10-year term. Schools will also be paying, and they will be paying with a connection maintenance fee for any connections. Now, the only thing that is not agreed to at this time is the price. But with that, it's important to point out that this is a no-cost item for the commission. Any costs related to this item would be paid for by SECC or the schools with maintenance provided by Comcast. So again, it's a no-cost item. But the commission needs to be a party because the agreement, because the commission was party to the original BESTNet agreement, and this MOU will ensure that what was provided for in the original BESTNet agreement continues on into the future. And the agreement clarifies the terms going forward from the original agreement and resolves outstanding legal issues that are related to the agreement. So with that, and I also wanted to point out that we say there is no funding for BESTNet in the future, but I do want to point out that there is a base funding that's an annual amount that's approved by the board every year, and it's in this final budget and was part of the proposed budget. And this year there's a $77,000 general fund allocation to BESTNet. So therefore, staff is recommending execution of this agreement, and that the execution be delegated to the executive director in consultation with county council. And again, funding for the commission is not a question here. With that, myself, Harriet Steiner, and if Liz Rhodes has any public comments, we can try to answer any questions that you might have.
Do any of the commissioners have any questions for our executive team? Hearing none, we'll open public comment. Renee, do we have any?
No, we have no comments thus far.
Okay. So we'll close public comment. And is there any deliberation from the commissioners?
Yeah, we can get them to try.
Hearing no questions or comments from the commissioners, ask for a motion on the item.
I'll move. This is Lisa Nava.
Motion by Nava. Do you have a second?
Before we second the motion, we have two options. I know Liz Rhodes is on the line, and the clerks could check in with the line to see if she has any comments on this item, or alternatively, Liz is probably going to speak on item 10, and then we can go right into the motion if she's not going to provide any comments.
Is she going to try to talk us out of approving it?
We're going to check on that right now.
Will the licensees like?
Okay.
Okay, let me put you on, I'll put you on speakerphone and then you'll be able to make your comments. Okay, you can go ahead with your comments.
Oh, hi, this is Liz Rhodes with the Sacramento Educational Cable Consortium. One thing I want to say is a huge thank you to your staff and to Comcast. This has been a difficult thing to negotiate, and some of the things that we're asking in the direction that Comcast has taken is unique, and that it's not how we're moving forward with this only works through the partnerships, and I think everyone has tried to come to the table and be collaborative on this. So, huge thank you to Comcast, huge thank you to Harriet and Bob and Karen. We feel so good about this. I mean, where else can you go where you've got something locked in until 2038? I don't plan on being around after that to work on the next version of this, but we just really want to say thank you. All the schools so much appreciate everything that you've done, and this is actually very spectacular, very, very, very needed, especially in our times today. So thank you.
Thank you, Liz. And I agree. These are, the children are our future, and the more that we can provide them with education gives them the tools to be good citizens and be self-sufficient in the future. So great job with our executive team, our staff, as well as Liz, your team, and make sure Comcast know we really appreciate everything. Is there any other comments by the commissioners, or is anybody ready to make a motion? We already have Lisa and Dawn as the motion and second. I think, Dawn, you were seconding it, weren't you?
I sure will. You read my mind.
Okay.
You got it.
Natoli?
So Renee, can we get a roll call vote?
Absolutely. Commissioners Detrick,
Yes.
Hedges, Gatewood, Polo,
Yes.
Reed, Riley,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes.
Natoli,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Nava,
Yes.
Morin,
Yes.
Bryant. Thank you. Your motion passes.
Excellent. Renee, can we go to the next item?
Your next item is your SMCTC Joint Powers Agreement, upcoming determination of continuation of or dissolution of SMCTC after December 23rd, 2024.
Good afternoon again. Yes. Okay, good afternoon again. This is Bob Davison, and I will present agenda item number 4. As we discussed with your board at previous meetings, we would bring this report back to you today on the dissolution of the commission. As the board knows, the JPA agreement originally created in 1981 for the cable franchise through the commission, provided that the SMCTC was to sunset in 2007. But due to the extension of the original franchise to December of 2023, the member agencies approved an amendment that extended the sunset date to December of 2024. As 2024 is just a little more than 3 years away, we believe that now is the time for the commission and the member agencies to decide whether to sunset the commission or to extend the term or to do something else. So with that, we've brought this initial report, and we're asking for some initial direction from you today. But for the dissolution, I think the options include continue the commission as is with only minor changes as an efficient way to provide the member agencies, the services related to cable and cable franchises that it currently provides, including cable franchise issues, collection and dissemination of franchise fees, resolution of customer service issues, operating Metro Cable 14, and providing support and programming for the 6 other PEG channels. So that would be one option. Another option would be do not amend the JPA and let the commission dissolve, and then there will be a year period where the dissolution of the commission will take place. I'm sure between now and then, if that's the course it's taken, a lot will go into figuring that out. And then another option is to amend the JPA in some other way via agreement by all the member agencies. So with that, some of the questions that I think need to be reviewed while this discussion is going on is, should Metro Cable 14 be retained as a joint channel for all the member agencies that were part of the commission? Should the other 6 PEG channels be retained, and how will they be funded? Should the PEG channels be operated by the member agencies individually? Would each member agency be able to get 3 channels per entity as provided by DIVCA? So California state law requires that the companies that have state franchises provide 3 channels for each member agency. What infrastructure would be necessary to make 3 channels for each member agency a reality? And also, should the annual 1% PEG fee process be coordinated with the member agencies, and how would the PEG fee revenues be dispersed? And also, should the member agencies continue other functions of the commission that I talked about earlier? So with that, we just wanted to start the discussion, see if the board or anybody in the public has any input on this item. And then ultimately what I'm recommending is that, 1, you authorize the executive director with assistant from Commission Legal Counsel to contact the Commission 7 member agencies to begin the discussion of the future of the Commission related to this potential dissolution and of Metro Cable 14 and the 6 PEG channels. And if the commission desires, appoint an ad hoc board member subcommittee to work on this issue and meet with the member agencies. So as commission legal counsel outreaches to the member agencies, if your board wishes, you can have a subcommittee of as many members as you want to also participate in these meetings with staff of the member agencies. So with that, that's the end of my presentation, but I'm interested in hearing any input that any board members might have.
Thank you, Bob. Is there any questions for Bob at this time?
Mr. Chair, I want to offer comment.
Okay, Mr. Natoli.
Yeah, just, again, not predetermining what member agencies might think once this is presented to them. I'll just speak from a bit of experience here that I think that, the strength of this commission is the partnership and obviously the, resolutions that brought us together and have kept us together now over 40 years next year, when you look from 81 to 21. And obviously we're at a critical juncture, so I recognize some of the questions that Bob poses are ones that people should, reflect upon and then decide, what they think is the best. But I think what has transpired over the years, just even with the budget action today, all the member agencies may put in their requests. We're honoring many, if not all of those. We have I think one of the finest, public access arrangements that I'm aware of anyway. And again, I haven't traveled the United States or done any investigation to back that up, but when I see what we just acted upon in the last item with BESTNet and SMCTC and the Comcast provider, and certainly this commission's role in that, I think we're well served. Again, who knows what the future will bring as it relates to, federal or state legislation. But through all of those various iterations, I think this commission and its member entities have thrived. Obviously, there's a return that goes through franchise fees back to the member entities. But I think, to me, having our meetings available, having public access, not just channels, but to seeing the business that we do on behalf of the people that we represent, both individually in our respective jurisdictions, but also collectively as this commission and other bodies that we serve on, I think it's really important. It brings it to people live. It allows people to access that. And I think there's a lot of value to that. And, yes, we can do something different. So we're not married to the way it's been for, the past, nearly 40 years. But I certainly would be one who would strongly advocate that, if we want to make some, minor tweaks to this, fine, recognizing where we are. But I think, this has been a very profitable and a very valuable venture and arrangement, and I think it's provided accountability, it's provided customer service, it's developed in a way, evolved in a way I think that really has benefited the people of the cities, but certainly of the county and of the county as a whole over time. And I would be real hesitant to try to just bust that up because people can have their own free channels or whatever. So I think there's strength in the unity that brings us together on this particular venture. Thanks.
Don, I think that was excellently said. I had some of the same conversations with our executive team when I was having my briefing. I think the power is the joint power, and to have each one of the 7 members come up with their own staffing to run this in many different ways. I think it would be a disservice to the public. I think the expenses related to it would actually go up. And I think the process we have is a very, very good one. And as you mentioned, there's always maybe some minor tweaks that could be done. But I think overall, when you look at what the goal and objectives of this commission is, I think it's one of the more outstanding commissions in the region. Plus, it's one of the few that actually generate money to the member agencies rather than cost money. Is there any other comments at this time from the other commissioners?
Yeah, I'll make a comment. I don't disagree with anything that's been said earlier.
I would just move that we authorize the executive director and legal counsel to hold the discussions. I don't think it's necessary to have an ad hoc subcommittee.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and this is Andy, and my initial start in the Cable Commission goes back a ways as well. And I'll tell you, I agree with what's been said, and my recommendation to my colleagues on the city council and the city manager are to, really continue to embrace the current constitution of the commission, because for the reasons that Don and Steve pointed out, it almost starts to look like a solution looking for a problem. And I appreciate the way it's worked over the years, and I don't see a need for many changes at all.
Any other comments from the other commissioners at this time? Not hearing any, so we'll open public comment. Renee, do we have any items received?
We do not.
And I assume there's no call-in speakers as well? We'll close public opportunity. We've kind of already had the deliberation. I said, do we have a motion? And if the motion would be to just the first part, authorize the executive director with the assistance of the Commission's legal counsel to contact the Commissioner's 7-member agencies to begin the discussions of the future of the Commission and the Metro Cable 14. And if somebody chooses to add an ad hoc committee, which I happen to agree with Andy that I don't think we need an ad hoc committee. I think the executive team is more than capable of having those discussions, and if anything arises from that, that'll come back in a report to the Commission.
This is Howard Schmidt. I'll make the motion to adopt number 1.
Okay. So Howard's got number 1. Is there a second?
I'll second it. This is Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah. We got a motion and a second. Renee, can you do a roll call, please? Vote.
Absolutely. Commissioner Dietrich?
Yes.
Hedges? Gatewood? Polo?
Yes.
Reed? Riley?
Yes.
Middleton?
Yes.
Natoli?
Aye.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Nava?
Yes.
Morin?
Yes.
And Bryant. Thank you. Your motion passes.
Excellent. Renee, can you read the next item, please?
Yes. Your next item is your Conflict of Interest Codes designated positions for calendar year 2020.
Hello again. It's recommended that the board approve the designated positions for calendar year 2020, which are attached as Appendix A to the staff report, related to the Cable Commission's Conflict of Interest Code. And the only changes this year are the appointment of council member Andy Morin from the city of Folsom, as their population count for 2020 has surpassed 80,000. And so the city of Folsom, as we've talked about in recent board meetings, is now has a member that sits solely on the commission, is not part of the shared board seat. And also the addition of legal counsel Laura Fowler, who works with Harriet Steiner at Best Krieger, who works with the commission staff on personnel matters. With that, I recommend that you approve the designated positions for calendar year 2020 related to the Cable Commission's Conflict of Interest Code.
Thank you, Bob. Any questions for Bob at this time? Hearing none, I'll open public comment. Do we have anyone signed up to speak or statements supplied?
No, we do not.
Okay, we'll close public comment. And this is just a receive and file. So we'll receive and file and go to the next item.
Chair Dietrich, I believe that you need to take a vote approving the annual review of the, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong item. I believe that you need to take a voice vote to approve the designated positions for calendar year 2020 related to the Conflict of Interest Code. It's not just a receive and file.
Okay, then it's wrong in the chair's agenda. Okay, so we'll take a, Renee, can you do a roll call vote?
Yes. Commissioner Dietrich?
Yes.
Hedges?
I believe we need a motion and a second, please.
Was there a motion and a second?
Andy will move the item.
Have a motion, do you have a second?
I'll second. Lisa Nava.
Okay, we got Lauren and Nava. Roll call vote again.
Okay.
Start over, Renee.
Dietrich?
Yes.
Hedges? Gatewood? Polo?
Yes.
Reed? Riley? Middleton?
Yes.
Natoli?
Aye.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Nava?
Yes.
Morin?
Yes.
And Bryant. Thank you. Your motion passes.
Thank you, Renee. Can you read the next item, please?
Your next item is review of procurement card usage, February 1st, 2018 to January 31st, 2020.
Good afternoon. Excuse me. Good afternoon. It's Bob Davison again, and we're going to recommend that your board receive and this is a receive and file item, by the way. Receive and file the annual review of the procurement card usage for the period of February 1st of 18 through January 31st of 2020. And I just want to point out, again, it shows that we've been good stewards of the procurement cards. There are two minor findings. One, it's titled altered review form. It sounds worse than it was. We have to accrue sales tax, and so there was an item that there was an error on the form, and it was an error of 99 cents. Commission staff used whiteout to correct the 99 cents, but it wasn't initialed by myself or Karen, and it was just put into the file, and that was discovered in the audit. So going forward, Commission staff is going to ensure that any changes to the forms are handled properly, and that staff just doesn't white out changes to the forms after they're approved and in the file. And the other item is related to a previous finding was that we needed to keep our procurement card records and documents in a fireproof file cabinet. So the commission did purchase a fireproof file cabinet and put all records in that cabinet. We actually were storing that cabinet in ASO 3 Karen Liu's office, and unfortunately that was because when Karen's not there, the records are not available. The finding was that we need to move that file to a new location, and then that has already happened. Anyway, those were the only two findings in the audit, the review, and it's recommended that your board receive and file the review of procurement card usage for the period of, again, February of 18 through January of 2020. Thank you.
Are there any questions of Bob at this time? Hearing none, we'll open public comment. Is there anybody signed up to speak or statements provided? Renee?
No, not at this time.
We'll close public comment, and this is just a receive and file, and unless there's any other comments by the commissioners. Hearing no comments, let's move to the next item.
Your next
Can you read
item.
that into the record?
Oh, I'm sorry. Your next.
Can you read that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Your next item is a review of franchisee and PEG fees remitted by Consolidated Communications, Inc. for the period of January 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2019.
Good afternoon again. So it's recommended the board receive and file this review, this audit of PEG fees and franchise fees paid for by Consolidated Communication from January of 18 through December of 19. And it's rare that this happens, but we have an audit of a one of our cable companies without any findings. So there was no findings, no amounts due, and it was a clean audit for Consolidated Communications. And I can certainly answer any questions that you might have. Are the board members on the phone?
We're here. No questions.
No questions here, so I don't know. No questions.
I was on mute. Sorry about that. No questions. And Renee, is there any open public comment?
No, sir.
Is there anybody signed up to speak?
No, not at this time.
Okay, so we'll close public comment. And this is a receive and file. And unless there's any other comments by the commissioners or questions, we'll move to the next item.
Your next item is your calendar year 2021 quarterly board meeting schedule.
This item approves the 2021 quarterly board meetings, which, based on past practice and past board direction, we're going to schedule 4 meetings for March 4th, June 3rd, September 2nd, and December 2nd, all in 2021. And with that, I recommend that you receive and file the quarterly board meeting schedule for calendar year 2021.
Okay, is it Bob at this time on the calendar?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that question, Chair Detrick.
I was asking if anybody had any questions for me at this time. Hearing none, we'll open public comment. Is there anyone signed up to speak under this item?
No, sir.
Okay, so we'll close public comment, and this is a receive and file. Let's go to the next item.
Your next item is your general administration report.
So I just have 2 items on the general administration report. The first item is the FCC in-kind proceeding. Just a quick update on that item. If you recall at the last meeting, we talked about how actually Harriet Steiner and myself meeting with Dianne Feinstein's staff in San Francisco resulted in Dianne Feinstein signing on to legislation, Senate proposed legislation that would clarify based on the revise the Cable Act, I think. Harriet will correct me on that one, but to clarify what are franchise fees under the Cable Act. And that's important legislation because it would make the in-kind proceeding moot because it would clarify that in-kind deductions could not be taken. But with that, I know she's running for vice president now, but we did send a revised letter, an updated letter to Kamala Harris looking for her support. And after this meeting, I intend to make one more go at the the local House of Representative members because we didn't get traction with them in the past. But we kind of delayed the effort a little bit because of the COVID-19 pandemic. But as I said at the last meeting, now's the time to start re-engaging. And so we've re-engaged with Kamala Harris, and we will be re-engaging with the House of Representatives in the local area as well. And I wanted to see if Harriet Steiner had anything to add to this item, any legal issues related to this item. Harriet, are you on the?
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. The litigation on the challenging this 621 in-kind proceeding is currently in the briefing stage, so there's about another month or 2 until the briefing is complete. And then we would anticipate argument and hearing sometime probably the beginning of next year.
Okay. So with that, I'll go to my next item. Just quickly, the quarterly meetings for the remainder of 2020. We have a meeting scheduled for the first Thursday in December. given the amount of issues that we're working on, I would say it's likely that we're going to have that meeting. Certainly, we will cancel it if we can delay items till the March meeting. But at this time, I think we will be having a December meeting. And those are the only items that I have in my general administration report.
Thank you, Bob. Is there any questions, Bob, at this time? Hearing none. Renee, is there anybody signed up for public comment on this item?
None at this time.
Okay, we'll close public comment and we'll receive and file that verbal report and read item 10, Renee.
Your item 10 is your channel licensee reports.
Okay. Renee, can you read any statements submitted by the channel licensees? In-person attendance not permitted at this meeting?
Absolutely. We'll start with the CAP Radio comments from Shirley Tully, Chief Development and Brand Officer of CAP Radio. We're continually grateful for SMCTC's decades of support for CAP Radio. Your annual funding helps us to provide local relevant news, information, and cultural content for the greater Sacramento region and beyond through our broadcast and digital platforms. With the biggest stories of our lifetimes compressed into 6 months, your steady support has allowed us to rise to the occasion to meet the needs of our audience in this time of pandemic, social unrest, wildfires, and the historic presidential election. In response to the pandemic, we have made several innovations in the delivery of news to our audience. To summarize, we have deployed our award-winning participatory journalism process to inform our reporting on the crisis, increased our daily newscast from twice a day to 4 times, and shifted reporting to 7 days a week. Launched a daily coronavirus newsletter with thousands of subscribers. Partnered with Valley Vision to launch the COVID-19 Resilience Poll to guide our coverage and help local leaders better understand the impacts. To help virtual discussions with Latinx community in Stockton to better understand the impact of our pandemic on their lives, and launched a rural reporting series of coronavirus in Plumas and Sierra counties. In addition to the meeting, the community's need for news and information, we are acutely aware of the role of our music offerings in providing solace during this time of uncertainty. We have partnered with the Stockton Symphony and national programmers to broadcast virtual live music performances, and we have expanded our interviews with local musicians to keep listeners connected with the music and our artists that inspire them. While responding to the pandemic, we have also stretched resources to cover our local reckoning with issues of race, equity, and justice in the aftermath of the killing of George Floyd. This historic social movement has also caused us to pause and examine every aspect of our own operation through the lens of equity and inclusion, and we are in the process of implementing changes that are responsive to the moment. Additionally, we have been preparing to cover the upcoming presidential election. We will be offering coverage designed to help our audience vote with clarity, such as People's Agenda Project, CAP Radio's Lean In and Deep Listening election coverage focusing on engagement and resources, forward reporting and for diverse communities, Meadowview, the Lake Tahoe Basin, Stockton, and Plumas Sierra counties. Election newsletters, providing regular emails with essential resources and information essential to voters. Polyfact California, featuring a weekly segment on Wednesdays, regular Insight appearances, and Facebook accountability to hold electioners to the truth. Politics Show and Podcasts, partnering with Cal Matters to launch a broadcast to show and podcast dissecting California politics and policy. Propositions coverage, offering details on every ballot measures this fall, plus direct access to the journalists covering the propositions via virtual events. Climate change coverage, reporting on climate change tied directly into politics and election as a direct response to audience requests for this information. NPR 2020, CAP Radio politics reporter Nicole Nixon collaborating with NPR on voter access to polling places and vote by mail. Ballot ready and online interactive up-to-the-minute election results and pre-election ballots prep site. On a final note, we would like to make the Commission aware that we are we proudly announce the hiring of our new general manager, June Reyna, as of July 1st. Rick Etchison, our previous general manager, will now serve as president emeritus and will focus on the fundraising effort to support our move downtown. As you can see, there has been a flurry of activity at Cap Radio since we last met, and we remain grateful for the Commission's steadfast support, which allows us to meet the challenge of these times. Your next comment is from Mr. Gary Martin, Executive Director of Access Sacramento. Dear Cable Commission members, on behalf of Access Sacramento Board of Directors, the staff, and all of our community producers, we walk to say thank you for your ongoing support of public access television in Sacramento County. Today's recommendation about capital outlay funding is a significant and positive step in helping community producers continue to put their voices before the Sacramento County cable audience, even with the ongoing restrictions from the coronavirus pandemic. Many of the elements in this year's budget requests are specifically targeted at helping members use technology to share their stories, opinions, and information in a safe and social distance way. As a nonprofit community arts organization, we continue to work to expand our footprint in the community, and this year we are proud to be a grantee of the California Arts Council with funding to support specific coverage of the City of Sacramento's creative arts community. This is also in partnership with the existing California endowment grant that funds the journalism training program and the website called Access Local TV. We look forward to partnering with our other nonprofits in the months ahead to share the information virtually. As an example, we recently provided live coverage of Rancho Cordova's Summer Spark drive-through event and the From Lament to Hope program from a parking lot at Sacramento City College. These partnerships demonstrate the important messaging that is being shared through your support of community media. It's worthy television not seen anywhere else, and in an important way of documenting how special the Sacramento community is. I have provided a short video that samples some of the Access Sacramento's original programming for members and the staff from last year. Please enjoy the video, and thank you again for your support for both the PEG Fund and earlier from the General Fund. We know we couldn't do it without you. Sincerely, Gary Martin.
Started, we'd like to welcome all of our Access Sacramento and Facebook family viewers. And 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2.
Are you there?
Hi there, how are you?
Fine. Yeah, it's interesting, this new technology that we're working, and there's no big cameras pointed at me.
Host just like you were doing, and so many more, and then now I have a podcast as well, so you're right.
In the 1980s, the early 80s. And it's just been, it was just the only thing that I felt, motivated and excited about doing, particularly in my case, the performing arts.
Hi, welcome to the program. I'm Bob Crimmins, and this is Living in the West. Felt made from animal fur, particularly the beaver, had become very fashionable.
Well, glad to be here. We are having so much fun here, and it's a great day where we're doing a tree lighting. We get a wonderful visit from Santa and Mrs. Claus, and most importantly, all the young kids here from Tiny Tots and neighborhood kids are singing and having a wonderful time.
The quarterback, Dorian Hale, getting through a big hole and a foot race, 69 yards. 4 players chase him, but they can't catch him.
Many of us right now, that new Tammy, we've seen her pictures up here, and we can hear her right this second, right this minute saying, "Really, guys?" Yes, Tammy, really.
How could anyone ever tell you are anything less than beautiful?
Her Find Your Voice show, she actually had, it was an all youth show, and that helps get the kids off the streets.
Mhm.
It also helps to encourage their talents.
Right here on the Voice of Sacramento. We're now on the FM dial, KUBU 96.5 FM.
Chair Detrick. We do have one video submitted by SCCC that was received after your notes were prepared. Dallin, can you please show that video?
And we also, after the video, we may have comments from the channel licensees.
I'm Liz Rhodes, Executive Director of the Sacramento Educational Cable Consortium. Thank you for your ongoing support. We wanted to update you on SCCC activities since your last meeting in June. We completed over 100 virtual graduations, and we met virtually with our ongoing SEVA committees to continue collaborations and family engagement, summer programs, technologies, and best practices for teaching and learning. We wanted to share a few highlights from our summer projects and give you a preview of our fall activities. Our Share Your Story project continued to grow throughout the summer months, with students submitting a variety of programs about their activities, thoughts, and concerns.
Remember to do your part in keeping our world pollution free.
We hosted a virtual 2-day SEVA summer training with 38 teachers participating. We had guest speakers from the media industry, as well as sharing best practices.
I was looking at some of the video links that Doug had sent me, and I was really impressed with some of the work we saw. Brian, you're at Del Campo, I believe, and there was a piece in there. It was a nat sound piece on a young woman, and it was just really nicely done. It was really nicely done. It had a nice beginning, a middle, and an end to it. It made you think. She was quite articulate, and the kids that put that together, it was really nice.
We've produced and shared messages from our superintendents on many relevant issues.
Video and technology have been critical. They have been a major tool for us. The SEVA labs have been incredible support to our schools and to our video production classes. And I think the future of those video SEVA labs is that our students are going to take it over and they're going to show us how to use those labs and really become the ones that lead the work in using video storytelling and production to continue our messaging and communication.
And we reimagined SEVA TV.
Hi, I'm Nabayo, host of SEVA TV, the show where we showcase great educational student videos from across the area. This year, we're connecting with student producers at home to check in with how they're doing and to hear their thoughts on how media is helping them through this time.
I do think the message of the video is a lot more important.
Join us each week right here on SEVA TV, Wednesdays at 12 p.m. on SECC Comcast 15.
And on September 10th, we are launching our reimagined Student Media Day with SEVACon.
Join us for our reimagined Student Media Day with SEVACon, a free bi-monthly virtual event for media students and teachers in the Sacramento area. Students will network with fellow student producers, industry experts, and engage in virtual field trips.
We thank you and your staff for your help and support.
That's great. Renee, is there any other statements or any other videos or anybody on the line that would like to speak?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Let's go to the next item.
Your next item is your state franchisee reports.
Okay, do we have any reports that have been filed by the state franchisees?
We have none, and we don't expect any public comment on this item.
Okay. And so, next item?
Your last item is your item number 12, and it's public comments, and at this time, we have none.
Okay. So just for clarity, I'll open public comment and then close public comment since we have no one signed up to speak. And we'll adjourn to closed session item number 1. There's 3 items with legal counsel.
I would note that we are not anticipating any public announcements at the end of these closed session items.
Okay. We aren't anticipating any announcements at the end of closed session.
So are we going to adjourn to closed session?
We are going to adjourn to closed session, and we ask that the board members dial into the other number in the meeting that was provided in the meeting invite for just the closed session, please.
Got it. So we'll close out of this meeting, hang up from this call, and call in on the closed section.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.